Good day, friends, and here we go with the Arena of Blood Season 2. We're glad to see you on UCC Broadcast, and next couple hours, all action, drama, blood, and awesome plays are for you. Guys, our partner EGB.com gives you an awesome proposal. First deposit bonus of up to $600. At EGB.com, you can also find convenient service, daily quests, and a bonus system. Interesting? Click on the banner under the broadcast. Okay guys, that's enough sellout. Hello, my name is DSwordfish. I will be your caster for today. We have a match between FlytoMoon 2.0 and Friends. Well, Friends. You know, I don't know what that stands for, but we'll find out during this matchup. And this is for the Arena of Blood tournament, Season 2 of this wonderful spectacle of Dota. And yesterday we saw the first match of the qualifiers. Actually went to a third game. Let's see if today is as exciting or if we have less throws, because yesterday Nemiga was in a particularly 3-2 mood. And we'll see. FlytoMoon and Friends, perhaps, even though they are coming in through the qualifiers, these are the qualifiers for Arena of Blood Season 2. They're definitely teams to be, forces to be reckoned with, right? Both teams have some well-known players, particularly, I want to point out FlytoMoon, right, which is actually playing with Stormer, Illidan as well, the famous Illidan. They're actually even playing with Nongrata and No Fear, which have had some nice placement in CIS as well. Like, you have some pretty good Tier 2 legends from FlytoMoon 2.0, which is interesting because it's the revitalization of a team that did quite well back in the day, the original FlytoMoon. As for Friends, it's probably Sidoy and Ush's team. They're probably the best known players in Friends, particularly Sidoy, who had a couple stints at Empire and in Roxkiss back in the day. And he's still playing. They are okay. They tier 2.5 to 3, honestly, most of the time. They haven't quite beaten most of the CIS teams. They weren't able to, back in the day when they were a more relevant team, beat teams like Empire or Spirit or Vega Squadron. So I don't expect them to do too well against FlytoMoon 2.0 either. But we'll see how the game turns out for them. So, let's get right into the picks. Ember Spirit and Grimstroke picked up by FlytoMoon, and Friends go for the Legion Commander. FlytoMoon going for a very standard opening in the current state of drafts. The Ember Spirit and the Grimstroke. I also love the fact that they banned the Lycan. Ember Spirit we've seen a lot these days, especially in CIS. Seems to be a very valuable pick. The fact that Searing Chains is such a great ability makes it so that just Ember is seen everywhere. He's one of the few mid laners with catch without committing too much to your mid lane. He's a flex pick. He can be played as a carry or as a mid laner. Yesterday we even saw him played as a support by Veni Vidi Vici. Like, the versatility plus the fact that he is so solid in his kit makes him a great hero. There are very few heroes who will win the lane outright against Ember Spirit, especially in the off lane. But even in the mid lane, yeah, OD is pretty good against him. Kunkka and Monkey King should beat them as well, but it does depend on the matchup. It depends on how well and how skilled the player is. Now they combine this with the Clockwork, probably position 4 Clockwork, and a No Fear special. So I like this. It's a good start for FlytoMoon. Whereas Friends, the Lich and Legion Commander. Surprising. Honestly, I don't know why you're starting out with Legion and Lich, if I'm honest, because Lich is a support that's kind of been phased out these days, not seen as often. Still a strong support, don't get me wrong, but usually looking for supports that do more, especially as a first pick. We've seen much more of the Phoenix, of course, which is banned. Tuskar is also very good, but it's also been banned. But even Shadow Demon we've seen more than this Lich. Even now with the Rubik, which is much more common as a first pick than the Lich. And the Legion Commander, we actually don't see at all, honestly. She does carry a Dispel on her, which is one of the advantages that she carries over the Beastmaster, which does the same role as hers, but she is just much weaker to the Beastmaster. Beastmaster carries a lot more pushing power. Beastmaster has a single target disable that doesn't require him to be in the middle of it, of course. Beastmaster deals much more damage in the early game, even in the mid game, unless Legion really amasses duels. He's also a very versatile hero, can go for an Economicon build, can go for Hamel the Dominator, can go for Pipe, even a Blink Dagger build is available for him, whereas Legion is much more standard, usually the Pipe into the Blink. So I'm surprised that they picked the Legion Commander, especially with Beastmaster still in the pool. Also, yeah, it's just, I just don't love it. I just don't love this hero, to be honest. And you combine it with a Lich, so you have a better lane if you do run them together, I guess. And she is a pretty okay laner, but Ember Spirit still beats her because of the fact that Legion cannot cancel his Flame Guard. So overall, I'm not the biggest fan right now of what they're showing here in the Dire side. I'm not loving Friends lineup just yet. The Morphling, okay, it just seems like this lineup is a bit old, I would say. It doesn't seem like it's too suited to the meta. FlytoMoon is doing exactly what I was expecting them to do, which is the CIS meta right now. A lot of Necrophos seeing, a lot of Ember Spirit. They love these flex picks. They're usually playing this very quick. You combine this with Clockwork and Grimstroke. Clockwork kind of prevented the potential Snapfire pick, which is fantastic. Also goes well with the Ember Spirit Necrophos. Because Clockwork has mobility, which Ember Spirit takes advantage of, and Necrophos needs, right? And the disengage is very important. Necrophos is a very slow hero. He tanks a lot, but sometimes you'll be in over your head, and Clockwork can help you get away. Cogs is one of the best disengage mechanics in the game. This final pick of the Morphling as well. I mean, he's okay against Necrophos, I suppose. Yeah, he's actually pretty good against Necrophos, because remember that E-Blade actually stacks with Ghost Shard, or any sort of ethereal actually stacks with Ghost Shard. They're different effects, so that you actually get more magic damage, more bang for your buck, essentially. That's the same reason why Pugna counters Necrophos. So Morphling is alright theoretically against Necrophos, but the team on FlytoMoon is already pretty solid in the early mid-game. They're going to put a lot of pressure. You're kind of relying on Legion Commander winning her lane, which is going to be a bit tough, especially considering what FlytoMoon is running. And on top of that, the Necrophos is pretty good against Morphling too in the, inverse matchup. Morphlings used to go for Lincolns, which allowed Morphling to kind of just withstand Necrophos' pain for the most part. But this game, I mean, nowadays you rarely, if ever, go for Lincolns. So the Reaper Scythe is going to hurt a ridiculous amount. And the Clockwork, for example, does not deal well with Morphling. If you morph fully into Strength, 3% will destroy you. If you morph into Agility, Clockwork will destroy you. So it's a bit tough. And you also have to deal with a Ghost from the Grimstroke. It's not the easiest of games. Now, I wonder what FlytoMoon is missing, though, because it is unclear where this Necrophos or where this Ember Spirit will go. If Necrophos goes mid, the Friends has the option of putting Morphling mid, and he usually tends to win the lane. So I would rather see the Necrophos going into the off-lane position, see the Ember go mid, and then see some sort of variation for the last pick into the carry position. But we'll see what they decide to run. That ban of the Puck is also interesting. I guess a counter. I mean, he is a counter to both Ember and Necrophos. Much more so to Necrophos than to Ember. So it does seem to indicate that Necrophos is going to be played in that mid lane. I know Stormstormer does love that Necrophos as well. I know he's plays it a fair amount. Not as much as his Invoker, but still. And I'm also wondering how Friends will finalize this lineup. You need a Space Creator. You luckily have enough catch in Legion, Rubik, and Lich, so you don't need that. But you do need a Space Creator. You need a hero that activates early. I wouldn't even be opposed to something like a TA if it wasn't because Ember Spirit destroys her in lane. Because you would like to go for something like an OD, for example, to win the lane, but it's just bad. Bad in the Medusa, interesting. OD's just bad against... Like, OD's good against Ember Spirit and Necrophos, but it's bad in this lineup. I would even venture as far as saying things like Quap or Zeus, because Lean has been banned. Quap against Necrophos can be a bit of a gamble. She's not that great against Ember. Zeus against both these heroes, though, is very solid. But Zeus is not a hero we see often these days. But actually would be the tempo control you're kind of looking for in that mid lane. You could go for an Invoker, too, actually. A Quas-Wex Invoker would be okay here. But very good against Ember and very good against Necrophos. But it does depend on the confidence you have on that Invoker. And also, he is a bit of a gamble, always as an Invoker, not a reliable hero. Oh, and run the Morphling mid. Okay, so I was right about that originally. And run the Juggernaut as the carry. Alright. Morphling mid, which means you don't want to run Necrophos. Ember Spirit's kind of fine against Morphling, to be honest. But now you want to run the Necrophos off lane. I'd probably pick a carry, honestly. I'd probably pick up carry. The issue here, though, is that if Necrophos goes against Juggernaut, that's also bad. So maybe run the Necrophos in the carry position, in which case you'll beat Legion Commander to death. Ember Spirit put him mid and pick a different offlaner. And you have the option, actually, to go for something like the Beastmaster, which is pretty good against Morphling. Actually, really good against Morphling in the lane. Really good against Juggernaut as well in the lane. Or decent against Juggernaut at the very least. And Beast with his Primal Roar can be really brutal against the duel against Morphling. I like the Beastmaster. I like the Beastmaster from FlytoMoon. Otherwise, I see their lanes going a bit badly, and they wouldn't be taking advantage. Friends has such a bad lineup for the early game. I am surprised they drafted this way, so FlytoMoon should take advantage of this and go for something quick. TA. Alright. They will run the Necrophos in the offlane then, it seems like. I'm the biggest fan of this. This is a very Stormstormer pick though. They do love that TA. That probably his best hero, I would say. I know Stormstormer particularly for his TA and for his Invoker. So I would definitely say that those are the two heroes. I mean, at least to me, that really stand out. Look at the end of this lineup. I don't love how either team has actually dealt with this, honestly. I don't love the Necrophos versus Juggernaut matchup. I think you can take a lot of advantage of this, especially because it's Jug plus Lich. So Necrophos is going to struggle in that lane. I think you could have picked an off-laner, run Necrophos carry, and you would have been fine, honestly. It does seem that they're running... I guess you run the Ember Spirit carry because you're afraid of that losing against Morphling, and Templar is much better against Morphling, so that's one of the points to be made. And you'd rather win the mid lane, so okay. It is a fast lineup regardless from FlytoMoon. Friends has kind of drafted themselves into a corner because of the picks they ran. Neither Morphling nor Juggernaut can act as a space creator, and Legion Commander is okay. She's not the biggest space creator, honestly. She's not Beastmaster. She's not... I don't know what other offlaners bring. Centaur. She's not an NP because she doesn't have pushing potential. It's actually one of the reasons why she's never picked these days. Compared to things like Abaddon, for example, or compared to things like... if you compare it to things like Beastmaster, compare it to things like Abaddon, compare it to things like Underlord, you just don't have the same, or Centaur, for example, you don't have the same pushing potential, and you rely completely on your team for getting kills. Oh, great, I have dual guys, right, just need to rotate 2 heroes to my lane and be able to get a kill. Like, if that's the case as a Legion Commander, the problem with this is that you don't fulfill that role, Space Creator, ever, because you always require support to be with you. So then is really space being made? I mean, assuming that the enemy team, in the case of Friends, will rotate all their heroes to deal with the Legion Commander, ignore the enemy carry and the enemy mid laner, then yes, you fulfill that role. But since they're not idiots, that's not going to happen. So I'm not the biggest fan of this pick. I think Legion is still viable. I don't think she's a bad pick in general. I just don't think you can go for such a greedy lineup with a Legion Commander. Legion Commander requires early activation, usually for a while, because her laning was so good. The Legion Commander kind of dealt with, or was played almost as a lane winner. She was played as a lane winner. So you would play this hero to just win the lane and go for a pipe immediately, and then you'd play her as a tank, which is alright. I don't mind that build in general. But, and that's definitely the build this game. You can't go for playing Dagger or Blade Mail or anything like that unless you really, really are confident in your lineup. It's gonna have to be a later Legion Commander. But the thing is, Legion doesn't have the greatest laning phase anymore. And then I always question, is it not better to go for any of the other offlaners and do the exact same role? Because if Friends had the last pick, then I would support them more, because then you can surprise with the Morphling last pick, and Morphling is a really good... Morphling actually beats most matchups in the mid lane. He actually has a really, really solid... matchups, you know. He's really good against Necrophos, for example, actually pretty decent against Ember, beats the Kunkka, for example, easily beats Pugna as well. Like, he beats the OD, or not the OD he struggles against. He beats most heroes in the mid lane, especially if you ban the Lina, which is his biggest counter, you know. And most of the time, if anything, you can always recover in the jungle, so it's actually the new form of TA. But ironically, TA actually beats him. And because you didn't have last pick, you put so many eggs in the Morphling basket. Would you pick this guy as your mid? Because if he has to recover, Yeah, it's okay, but you rather have someone that can take up the slack. And the Jug MOM build does allow him to be a bit impactful for like minute 10 to 15, which I think is the goal. Friends will probably play with Juggernaut from minute 10 to 20 even. Allow Morphling to get his E-Blade and probably maybe Yasha or Manta Style or whatever. And then you can actually have a Morphling that becomes a carry in the late game, whereas the Juggernaut kind of takes a second, like he fades into the background. It's alright, I don't mind that, particularly. But, it's just not that good. Friends. It's just not that good, unfortunately. I'm not the biggest fan of this lineup. I don't like this at all, honestly. In fact, what I'm surprised they didn't do is actually Friends or FlytoMoon could run a Shadow Fiend here in the mid, if they're going to pick a mid laner. I know Storm is also quite confident in the Shadow Fiend. I mean, TI is his best hero, and beats Morphling, so no biggie. But you can run the Shadow Fiend with the Clockwork boost as well. Morphling can't do anything against you. Especially if you pump out your raises. But we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. They're definitely gonna bank all their efforts right now into the mid lane, though. If you pick this TA, you did it so you could win this mid lane and absolutely crush this Morph. And you know that if you crush this Morph and you delay his early game considerably, then the enemy team will be forced to play on the Juggernaut, and that doesn't always turn out okay. Especially because Jug is not gonna have an easy time. Jug will have to pick up the slack for a bunch of heroes, and unless Jug has a good early phase. This is the difficulty, though, of course. If I read this correctly, Friends is going to use Jug with an MOM build to kind of destroy early, right? That's the idea. Okay, great. Then the biggest priority for FlytoMoon should actually be to crush Jug's early game, or to at least put a lot of difficulties in Jug's early game. Because otherwise, he's going to become a force to be reckoned with, and even though you have a better early game, he's just going to destroy you. So that's the case, then FlytoMoon misread this completely by putting so much emphasis on that Morph pick and trying to crush his lane. Especially if you don't even win the lane against Morph. This is a huge thing, by the way. If Asha now wins the lane against the TA, you've just sacrificed the pick. You sacrificed a lane by forcing Necrophos to go into the offlane, which is a terrible idea. Just so that you could do nothing, because the TA didn't even win the mid lane. So this TA needs to win the mid lane. Stormer cannot lose to Asha here. This is a major, major thing. Luckily, Eldon is still doing fine. Like I mentioned in the draft, I don't think that you're going to have too much trouble here in the bottom lane. They are attacking Fishman, but the chance of him dying are very small. Don't attack the Legion Commander, though, when she's doing that, because it's like an axe, you know? She just add damage here. Just careful with the Sleight of Fist. And, okay, we've seen the TA starting to dominate even more. Now, level 2 Refraction is probably coming out. Nongrata is actually in trouble. Sensibility, chasing after him. Frost Blast, pretty effective. Ooh, he had to use a Fairy Fire already. The Death Pulse helps him stay alive, though. And I'm seeing a lot of action mainly in the mid lane. I think this Morph might just die to the Sideblade Refraction. He just used the salve on himself. It's a bit hard to tell because, again, camera's not there. But I do hope that this doesn't end up being a huge, huge blunder by FlytoMoon by deciding to run a mid lane matchup. We'll see if Friends have read this correctly. Also, of course, depends on how well Friends play this later on. I am quite confident in some other players, like I mentioned, Asha particularly, and Sidoi, perhaps their best known players, and definitely players that are quite good. Plov has had some time in the spotlight. I do remember him from Ursus Gaming, which is an okay open qualifiers team, but the rest of this team is relatively unknown, and they are not a team that I don't know what to say about their playstyle, which is always a difficulty. Because yesterday, for example, Nemiga won multiple drafts, but they lost because of their execution. No Fear. Almost killed off. Almost died there, No Fear. A lot of damage that he's tanking. It's surprising how well they're holding their own against a Lich Juggernaut lane. One of the hardest lanes to be against. That's a level 3 Jug and a level 2 Lich. And you don't even have Ghost Shard just yet. Nongata is managing pretty decently to be in this lane. So perhaps I underestimated how strong a Necrophos can be in lane. Asha, careful. The TA is looking for a kill on you. Look at that. He just sees him and immediately starts attacking him. One of the difficulties of Morphling against the TA, one of the biggest difficulties actually of this hero, is that he is... Oh, got it. No, gets away. He's a hero that relies... As you have high HP, you rely on your HP, of course. But if you have low HP, part of the advantage is that you get a lot of armor. So you actually can tank quite a lot of damage at low HP as long as it's physical damage. They can't just kill you with lacets, of course. But TA with the side blades just completely circumvents this. and is hitting you for pure damage, which is a big deal. And that makes it so that Morphling can't really be too morphed to agility in that lane without suffering grave consequences. You have to be very careful with that. So it works out nicely for them. They do kill Illidan's courier here in the bottom lane. Doesn't seem like that big a deal. Oh, shush. Okay, refraction. And here we go. As the eventual matchup where Morphling just keeps morphing. Morphling just keeps morphing. And TA is a fair amount of damage, but once her refraction runs out, her damage runs out as well. She relies a lot on that refraction to make it work. Illidan. Flame Guard. He's a little chasing after this for the rune, though. There's no saving changes yet. Good telekinesis by Dodgy. And they're going to lose that rune there. In fact, Sensibility also stole one of their runes, so that's going to be 3 runes the way of friends. That's actually a big deal. When you have a lineup that's going to be slower, these early bounty runes mean a lot. Sensibility is going to be chased down, though, at least. No Fear might get the first blood here. In the mid lane, they're also fighting here, but it does seem like No Fear will gather Sensibility down. He's even... Oh, wait. He's going to try to deny himself. The cogs don't happen in time. And that's going to be a first blood regardless for No Fear. Probably one of the better heroes to get first blood. If you're not going to give it to a core, of course. If you're not going to give it to a core, giving it to the Clockwork is quite nice because Clock actually can do a lot with that experience and that gold. So he's not unhappy with that. We see now Necrophos has got Ghost Shroud. He has the Magic Wand. He's ready to fight this lane. In the middle lane, we're also seeing a lot of harassment from the TA. She's staying much closer to the Morphling, using that refraction, abusing that refraction, mind you, and Morphling. He is not doing as well as a TA, but there's a minimal difference, honestly, between the two heroes. So it's not like this lane has gone so far in their favor. My biggest concern here is the difference between the carries. Look at the Illidan and look at the Juggernaut and how well he's doing. And that's just because his lane is just traditionally really good. And here's the other problem, of course. I said it. Ember is okay matchup against Legion, but not the worst. Like, he definitely doesn't have an overwhelming matchup against a Legion commander. So this leads me to question, you know, why would you, like, none of the lanes that you set up in the end were good. I would even question, I was thinking about this for a while, why not put Ember with, or Ember against the Jug and put the Necrophos against Legion? Because I do believe that Necrophos Legion, you can win that lane easily as long as you get an early level in Ghost Shroud and an early level in Aura. So you probably go for a 1-1-1 build in the beginning, but I think it's definitely possible. And you combine that with your Grimstroke, and you should be more than fine, honestly. And Legion struggles a bit against the constant damage. Fishman might actually die here. Fishman, okay, they're diving for him. Sidoi wants to get the kill. He's going to get it with a press the attack, and that's going to be a dead Fishman. But Dodgy also dies in exchange. Illidan STR going for Sidoi. Sidoi decides to man-fight him, and with a press the attack build, it's working wonders. Press the attack is actually the best build for sustained damage in the lane. Deals so much if you can get close to the enemy, and also heals you enough to keep on hitting. That's a major difference. Look at Shush, how well he controls the attribute shift. It's impossible for Stormer to properly trade against him. This is the biggest issue, of course, in the mid lane against the Morphling. Even when you have a good matchup, being able to bring him down is near impossible, so at best you can just outlast him, which is something TA does well. TA does, or is able to outlast the Morphling, and usually does. Now, Illidan doesn't even have face boots, though. If you look at the net worth, we're actually seeing that the top 3 net worths are all from friends. Legion acquired, or Legion has fulfilled her role perfectly. Legion shut me up. Legion made me eat my words, and she proved that she is still a good laner, much better than I expected. And she's capable of destroying this poor Ember. And because of that, she fulfills her role perfectly, and the weakness of the draft of friends kind of faded away. So now they have a pretty solid draft. You know, they managed to make use of the Legion. She can be a space creator to some degree because of a great laning stage. And even though it's still going to be a bit greedy with MOM on Jug, you can play a relatively fast game and still do well. Luckily, Necrophos has kind of managed to hold his own against him, but not enough to the point that Jug is not going to be useful. And now, okay, in the top lane, there's going to be another a fight going on, but they tanked this damage quite well. No Fear wants to dive this Plov. He still has the Omni Slash available. Oh, he hasn't picked up Omni Slash just yet. Which makes me wonder, yes, he actually did go for 2 points in Blade Dance as opposed to level 1 Omni Slash, which makes me think that he's probably not going to go for Musket Madness. It's an odd choice. Perhaps it's because the Ghost Shroud, of course. The Ghost Shroud makes Omni Slash much worse than Blade Fury to deal with the Necrophos. Oh, Necrophos could be in trouble. There's the Blade Fury used, but he gets stuck in the cogs. Plav not wanting to go for Non-Grata, apparently. Non-Grata has full Magic Stick Charger, that's why. He heals back to full, has Reaper Scythe, he's going to kill Sensibility. He's going to use the little Death Pulse to finish off Sensibility. And that's going to be a nice little kill for FlytoMoon. This Necrophos has kind of picked up the pace now against the Jug. It's going to put him in more pressure. In the bottom lane, though, Sudoi is looking for his first duel. Not going to find this long as Fishman jukes him like that, breaking some ankles here, Fishman, but they have telekinesis. Why do you stay there that long? Because you have a silence. Very confident with that Ghost immediately coming out as Legion Commander was trying to get the duel off against him. The TP, however, is cancelled and Fishman's left alone as a TP in time. Can he accomplish it? Telekinesis available? Nope. He's not going to find him. So that's going to be a really, really good TP there by the Grimstroke. Ploth, meanwhile, tries to take this outpost. Very well done. Not enough time for Clockwork to retake it. And even though No Fear wasted a bit of his time to take this outpost earlier, it was going to be a really good play. In the end, Plov was very smart with his Blade Fury plus the outpost taking. Plov in trouble, no mana. I don't think he has mana for the TP. He thinks to those cogs. Use the Magic Wand here to heal back up a bit. Has no Blade Fury though. There we go. Finally using it. Meld will actually miss there. Unfortunate for the TA. The Inkswell's ready though. And with a trap, Ploy is dead. Goodbye, Plov. They bring him down. Stormstormer gets a quick kill. That's very important for him. As in the bottom lane, Illidan's also looking for a kill on Sensibility. Use the Spirit Bomb. And it's going to end up finding this poor Lich. Okay, not bad for the start for FlytoMoon. I mean, this is what I was expecting. Honestly, they have a faster lineup anyway, despite how the lanes might have gone. You have a faster lineup. You have the kill potential early. But even if you are managing to get these kills, what matters is can you transform this into a net worth difference. Is this going to become objectives? Is it going to become something that actually matters in the long run? Doesn't seem like it for now. Oh no, Fishman. Why are you showing yourself like that? Not the play. They're trying to get the stun on Sudoi so you can't just duel him, but Fishman might be dead regardless. There's the duel. And it doesn't really matter if you get the stun off. He still kills you and you give him extra damage. There's the problem with friends, of course. Jug in the early, especially now in the stage of the game, Non-Grata close to dying, has a magic wand. No, he's used it earlier. Non-Grata could be in trouble. There's a waveform in 4 seconds. Use the attribute shift and oh no! He tried to go for the attribute shift plus the adaptive strike to kill off Non-Grata, but at the same time the aura from Non-Grata ended up killing the Morphling. That was crazy. I wasn't expecting the aura to actually finish him off. Interesting. Morphed a bit too far in. Sudoi. Okay. Inkswell. Catching him. What's the follow-up? Yeah, you don't have anything. The trap, I guess, for the Lich, but Sudoi has the Frost Armor. He's fine. One of the weaknesses of TA is that she only deals physical damage. So, I mean, aside from the side blades. And the refraction trap damage, sure. But she's mainly physical damage here. So the Lich Armor destroys her entirely. I mean, her damage comes from her auto attacks. So for now, Friends is still confident though. I mean, again, you have gotten a couple good kills with FlytoMoon. It's not bad for them. But it seems like Friends has been utilizing this time well as well. They still have the 1k lead. Mainly concentrate on Legion Commander. And Jug has been playing, as I mentioned, the Space Creator role, letting Morphling farm much more. Jug is still very useful in the early game just because of the damage Blade Fury deals. Oh no, Non-Grata could be in trouble. Here comes the smoke. They have a duel ready to use the silence first, which he stole, interestingly enough, but a good Ghost Shroud will save his life for now, not giving the dual damage to Legion Commander and only giving them the kill. Very good time in the Ghost Shroud, a bit late on that Ghost from Dodgy. They saw him coming from afar. And that allowed them to at least stave off the dual damage. And now Sudoi has no stun. They know this, so they can play a bit aggressively. They're going to even use the Glyph here to try to defend this tower. Is there going to be a rotation, though, by FlytoMoon? We'll see. Juggernaut's now taking his time to actually farm himself. Crazy. And now Shashush hits a bit too hard. This tower will fall super early. This is a great help, actually, because Shashush kind of needs... Or, sorry, the whole Friends team needs these early towers. Especially the mid lane tower. It allows you to do so much more. It allows you to gank so much easier. Okay, Dodgy, what a nice steal. The Flame Guard makes your damage irrelevant early. Still trying to kill him with a Sleight of Fist, actually. Might die. One Sleight of Fist from Illidan. This is just to guess correctly. Rest attack. Not going to be in time. Well played. And that's they'll lose the tower as well, so there's no TP point anymore. So Doi could be in trouble. Has the magic wand though, plus the duel. Where's the rotation? Lich is coming by from below. Gonna catch Fishman. There's the shield with duel available. There's the silence first, but they want to get the duel for sure. And that's gonna be a dead Grimstroke. But in exchange, Sensibility might die as well. Well, then burning him up with a Flame Guard. Sedoi had to sacrifice his support just to get a bit of extra duel damage. You know, maybe not so worth it, especially because he lost the tower there. Well played by Illidan. He's going for a Spirit Vessel build, actually, super early, so... Okay, interesting. I mean, it's common to go for Spirit Vessel against the Morphling, and it's not an uncommon build on the Ember, so I'm not opposed to this. There's a hook shot available on No Fear, but he hasn't been able to really find anyone. This Clockwork, unfortunately, has not been the best pick. Hasn't worked too well for them. He is not a good hero against the Juggernaut. He is not a good hero against the Morphling. He is a pretty good hero against Legion, that's it. So it's a bit tough for him to play this game. He doesn't really have much to go on. Stormer's been using this time to farm, and we're seeing the typical Legion build we see these days, which is going for Blink Dagger first. This allows you to fight much earlier, and it's the right choice against a team that's going to be a bit slower than yours. And now the 1k difference between Friends and FlytoMoon, not that big a deal. What matters here is that FlytoMoon gets some kills, though. They have the kill potential now. With the Spirit Vessel completed now on Illidan, they're going to have a lot of ways to kill anyone, really. And Spirit Vessel is brutal, not just against the Morphling, but also really good against Legion Commander, after we press the attack, of course, because she dispels it. And really good against the Juggernaut, because of the healing ward. Of course, though, in this game, you do have a multiple dispels, the Press the Attack and the Blade Fury both dispel, in addition to the Morph. Or, yeah, the Morph. Because it's Ultimate now, yeah. I always get the names confused, because, you know, Attribute Shift and Morph got changed. But yeah, you have a lot of dispels there, which made Spirit Vessel not so strong, but there's ways. There's ways to play around it. Fishman loses his life to Ushash in the mid lane, no big deal. No E-Blade versus Ushash. Decided to go instead for the Manta style. It seems like he's more worried about TA and less worried about Necrophos or the Ember. Because, of course, against TA, the burst damage is bad because Refraction just takes it out. But sustained damage from Manta style, very, very useful. Sustained damage from Manta style will help them a lot. The Searing Chains actually misses there, so I think it's only level 1 Searing Chains, so there's only a single target. But the Spirit Vessel is really screwing him over. Look at how strong Spirit Vessel is against that Press the Attack, right? You use it for the full duration, deals a fair amount of damage because Legion Commander is a strength hero. And on top of that, it reduces the healing from Press the Attack, which makes it kind of brutal. This poor Legion can't really do much about it. And it's a good build-up. I like this. I'm hoping he's still going to go for Maelstrom straight after, though. You need some damage on this Ember. You can't just rely on the damage on the TA, who's, by the way, should have, if not, yeah, she definitely has, even without checking her inventory, the Desolator. There we go. Go for Sedoi. Desolator's ready. The Blink Dagger as well. She's set in time, right at the right timing. Reaper Sight used, but they actually saved the Legion Commander. Doesn't die quite yet. And they're going to fight the Sedoi, still alive, with the duel ready. They're going to go for Stormer. The Reaper Sight is stolen by Dodgy, and they managed to get the kill now onto Stormer. Almost is even committed. No Fear is dead as well. Non-Grata. Oh, you're gonna die of shame here. You just let the Rubik steal your Reaper Scythe. They use the Adaptive Strike to kill him off, to make sure he can't TP away. And that's gonna end up being a huge win for Friends. I cannot believe I just witnessed that. Stealing the Reaper Scythe, and on top of that, getting the Omni Slash plus the dual victory. I mean, it was such a victory for Friends. They might not have ultimates now, but they're confident enough to take Roshan. They know without TA or Necrophos, the enemy team can fight. Illidan will try to annoy them, but you don't have Maelstrom, so you lack damage at the Sleight of Fist. Alright, well, I mean, okay, he's still dealing a fair amount. He's going to try to go in. There's the Spirit Bomb. Okay, Plov. Blade Fury up. Illidan STR the target. They're going to try to take the Aegis. Who takes the Aegis? It's Ushash. And that's the perfect target. Morphling wants the Aegis, of course. Illidan will still die to the Rubik, surprisingly enough. Now, No Fear in trouble. They use the Active Strike strength to push him back and set up for the duel. No Fear is gone as well, and Fishman, you're just a scapegoat of this fight. You're the last man standing, and not for long. Goodbye. Shotgun to death. No need for that E-Blade at all. Oh, absolutely brutal here. Seriously. My god, Friends is destroying the enemy. I said it, they have the slower lineup, but they're not playing like it. Jug is doing a really good job of creating space. The Morphling came online way too soon, and they committed this whole pick, this TA. Thank you, Observer, for putting her out. They commit this whole pick, this TA, to be able to deal with a Morphling, and you don't deal with the Morphling. You do quite the opposite. You're losing against the Morphling, and why, mate? But genuinely, why? Like, what's the... What a loss to
EGB,
the
your esports betting world. The only place to find the widest choice of popular games and matches to win real money. Choose your bet on a single event or express of several matches with dizzy odds. Serving the market for 7 years with over 800,000 users. Join now to get your bonus for the first deposit up to $600. EGB, you know for sure who's gonna win.
It has not had any impact. Neither has the impact. Here's the other thing as well. If you pick the mid laner, you trashed both of the side lanes because you wanted that mid lane pick. Or you could have had much better side lanes. Even with the combination, it should have really been in the off lane position. Necrophos in the safe lane position. Even if you were running some sort of aggressive try or whatever it is, doesn't really matter, but that was the goal. Okay, how was backdoor protection not triggering? Not entirely certain. There we go, finally there. As the creeps are starting to push in, Usher will heal back up thanks to the Morbid Mask, and you still have that Aegis ready for him. The Monostyle already completed. And Fishman, there we go. Okay, hook shot, gonna catch the Lich. Lich in trouble. There's the shield, helping him out. And the Ghost trying to stop him. Oh, he's gonna go down in the end. Sensibility does die, but in exchange for No Fear's life and a dual victory, seems like still a win for Friends, who continue to push this forward. They've already taken the tier 2 up top, so they haven't lost any time by TPing here. And they're gonna continue well forward towards the tier 2.
Dire team pick.
Grimstroke.
What a big problem here. What a big problem for
Dire team ban.
Legion Commander.
FlytoMoon. I don't know how they recover because they were not thinking of playing this late anyway. And as later this goes, the harder it becomes. The build for Legion also is perfect, by the way. Going for the Pipe Blink Dagger, and I also like the Juggernaut's build of Diffusal Blade or Monte Diffusal. He acknowledges that the Mask of Madness build is not so strong because you're up against Necrophos and to some degree a TA, both of which can dispel the Omni Slash. In fact, even against an Ember, it's not that great because Ember can actually just remnant himself away. So having some sort of sustained damage is important, and Diffusal Blade plus Monte is perfect. Also, Ember's super vulnerable to taking away his mana. Being able to translate or to go to an Remnant actually takes 150 mana, which is a lot. So it's not surprising that he goes for the Monte style plus the Diffusal Blade build. Also, the spells are great, of course, against Searing Chains and against the Grimstroke Ghost. Can even escape cogs in some situations, depending on how tight you are and how many people are in the cogs, blah blah. The Monte style is a weird interaction, it's a bit random. Okay. Take the tier 3, no problem here. Honestly, Usher is just destroying it. Plov doing his best at aiding his teammate. Usher turns the form of Ember, gets the Searing Chains, almost kills Ember alone with this. Gets rid of the Ghost immediately. I mean, they're just protecting him. He has the E-Blade, he has the Monte style, there's more than ready. There we go, E-Blade, shotgun, all the damage possible, but he gets healed back up thanks to Non-Grata. So there's not going to be Fishman dying here just yet. Usher just takes the Rax and walks away. Unscathed, really. And this might be a mistake. They're doing the fake back right now. They're doing the fake back. Friends definitely wants to fight this. Stormstormer is out and they know this. So in the mid lane, go to the mid lane. Thank we go. Omni Slash immediately to No Fear and Non-Grata immediately killed. The fake back was successful. And they're going to go for Fishman as well. The E-Blade to set up for the skill. Plov, as someone deals some magical damage. There we go. Blade Fury will end up slicing and dicing the Grimstroke to death. And that's going to be yet another win for them. And that's because the Lich kept the TA busy top. Yes, he died, but it doesn't really matter. It was actually still a huge win for them because of that. They knew the TA could not come to the rescue. Now they forced 2 buybacks here from Grimstroke and from the Necrophos. Necrophos being the more important one. Usher, they use the Reaper Scythe. Why would you ever TP there? The Reaper Scythe committal is obvious. He is still quite tanky though. Plov helping him out with a healing ward as well. There comes the TA. Now they have some damage. There's no Legion nearby. No press the attack. So Usher will lose his life unnecessarily. That was a terrible TP. What a throw if I've ever seen one. At least the Jug can get away, but my god. I watch these games, and sometimes, man, sometimes there's certain plays that are just...
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Rubik.
FlytoMoon managed to get a really good team fight there, but they already lost one set of racks and still a tier 3 up top. We can tell Stormer is essentially the only person that can really bring this back for the team. Ember is not really that useful. It's really just the TA that can deal with the Morphling. So it just leads to a better team fight by friends. They also miscalculated the timing for the Roche. Roche literally just expired as the Morphling died. So a couple mistakes there that did lead to friends losing that team fight. Now with Mandastyle on the Juggernaut, he's going to be a secondary damage source, which wasn't the case before. He's much more ready to fight. Legion Commander as well. Then we can actually even get Spider Legs. Spider Legs are huge this game. You can give it to both Legion Commander or the Juggernaut, both of which require that mobility. And the BKB and Ashish Pro will probably help a lot. Even gets Enchanted Quiver. I actually like the Enchanted Quiver on Morph. Yeah, it's extra burst damage for you. Especially if you use it with a waveform attacks targets, actually triggers there, so you get a huge amount of damage boost.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team back.
Morphling.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Nongrata rotates to the mid lane. As we see that Friends is deciding to just take some time to farm, probably wait for the Aegis, the next Aegis. I mean, there's nothing really to wait for here besides that. The BKB maybe on the Morphling. Heaven's Halberd is actually picked up on Sidoi, which is a big deal. A way to deal with the TA. And this is what happens when you rely on the 4-protect-1. And one of the issues, and one of the reasons why TA has actually been lost a bit recently, the less we see 4-1, the less we see a TA in general. There's a tendency in teams that rely on the TA, especially a fast TA pick. So when teams have a TA as a transitional pick, you actually have a secondary carry, which is very useful. But the kind of draft the FlytoMoon went for is that a draft that's supposed to win early. If you don't win early, you end up falling prey of the weakness of just end up going for the 4-protect-1 on the TA. Oh, that Rocket Flare will detect no one. That's just the courier though, so that they can guess there's a smoke. Yep, they should have seen the rocket flare though, it's very obvious, and now both teams evade each other because of the smoke. They both will take the enemy team courier as well, or they should see the enemy team courier. Because of the rocket flare's distance, they should be able to tell that they're nearby, but not quite where. Sedoi goes in, there we go, duel, using the high ground vision, and that's going to be another win duel for them. Fishman's dead, which is important. Are they really going to fight this regardless? There we go, Sensibility also dies here. And it does seem that they're going for the Rubik. Both supports have been killed off immediately. Stormer actually eats up the Omni Slash, but no, they have no dust for him. He just melts, and he's now invulnerable. Omni Slash wasted, and they might actually lose his team fight because of it. Ushash can't really hit a single target. They're all just kiting Ushash a little bit too much, and he goes to the high ground. He's stuck. Why? With a waveform. What are these plays? He tries to get away, and there's no Reaper Scythe available. They don't have vision of him anyway, so he's going to be able to get away. At least with that TP. It almost seemed intentional at that point. There's steering chains available on Dodgy, but who cares? He just committed a dieback for no reason, even with Reaper Scythe, to add the dieback bonus. Sidoi trying to get away, still for some reason, again, staying here, even though he had Blink, and he could have just gotten away much sooner. Has Essence Ring, but decides to die. What's happening right now? The team that's not supposed to win now. Don't give me this thing about, oh, this analyst doesn't know what he's saying. Don't give me this 28 minutes in, a TA Ember is going to beat out a Morphling Juggernaut. Both of which have some decent amount of farm. What are these initiations? Stormer is just taking the supports and nobody's doing anything. I am surprised that neither Lich nor Rubik have a Ghost Scepter. I am surprised that the Omni Slash is used without any dust. or sentries or something. Like, I can't believe you use Omnidash without considering that the meld can come out. That was insane, actually. And then the Morphling waveforming itself to the high ground at that point. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's just so many mistakes by friends, man. So many mistakes. And they're losing an advantage that they've hard-earned advantage. That's just not going their way.
Radiant team pick.
Juggernaut.
Well, it seems like friends, have about 5k lead right now. So at least they have a pretty good advantage there.
10 seconds remaining.
FlytoMoon 2.0 looking
5 seconds remaining.
looking to recover, honestly, this game. They lost the early mid game. They haven't been able to execute their plan, but they have managed to stay up in terms of net worth. Necrophos only plan that's really fallen behind, but I think it's justifiable. He's just a Reaper Scythe anyway. And the Ember and then TA, I mean, they're still quite useful. Sensibility and Trouble. They should be able to kill him, honestly. Illidan deals so much damage with Daedalus. There we go. Sensibility, they see him. No Searing Chains. Misses that, actually. Misses the Searing Chains, but does not miss the Clumsy Net. Gets close. They force the Chain Frost, but Sensibility. Just lost your ultimate for nothing there. It's not going to help you. Daedalus, another... Look at that. Like, Daedalus deals so much damage with this Sleight of Fist. It's brutal. Against heroes of that armor, like a Lich. Nothing to do against them. Right now, it seems like Friends is trying really desperately not to lose. They've understood that the best way to do so is by playing this slow and, yeah, taking good engagements, but playing as slow as possible. Whereas FlytoMoon is doing quite the opposite. Look how they're dominating over the main part of the map. Whereas Friends, they're sticking together. They are not diverting too much. They're pushing the lanes and they're taking over the enemy triangles with vision. FlytoMoon does not really care about their vision, honestly. They have no offensive wards. They're just taking over, straight up. And here could be actually a really good initiation if you could get the hook shot off here, the clockwork. Has Rocket Flare to keep vision of Ashishush. He is chasing after him. It's a bit difficult though. Oh, there we go. The Rocket Flare to get vision, but he's not really using the hook shot. The creeps block him. That's not really helpful. Can he guess correctly? He does! Good job there. No fear. He might die because of this, but he guessed correctly and allowed them to kill Ashishush. And this leads to a kill. It's totally worth it for the clockwork. He can't TP anyway. He's forced to BKB as well, which is brutal. Ashishush now rooted and dealed off with silence. Oh, maybe not. There we go. He's still lasting. Reaper Scythe. Finally! Finally Reaper Scythed him. And there we go. Killing him once and for all. For 120 seconds of that Morphling, they're definitely going to force a buyback here. They can push all they want this top lane. And now we're going to have some trouble for Friends, who have gotten a bit overconfident on their Morphling. And will die because of it. This is what I was telling you. They were supposed to stick. And while they were sticking, they were fine. But because FlytoMoon is playing so aggressively, you should have guessed this was going to happen. They have no wards anywhere. Their only goal right now is to literally kill your heroes. But Friends is trying to do a bit of rat Dota, of course. Here come the TPs, they force them back, nice job, but it's just the TA and the Ember that's actually stay. They want to take this tower, they want to force the buyback. They know Stormstormer alone can literally take this tower. Should have really been the Ember that TP'd, leaving a remnant, but... Alright. Okay, take a tier 3. Tier 3s don't mean as much, though, nowadays, unfortunately. It does lead for the creeps to push in nicely without, the tower. But besides that, there's not much to be done. There's a Travel Boots actually bought by the Necrophos, so interestingly enough, it's just wanting to go for mobility now. They leave a remnant there. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is the play I was hoping for from the Ember. So we can defend two places at once, maybe very similar to the Kunkka. And he's going to push out the bottom lane out for a bit before they actually take over the triangle yet again. They know the Morphling's still gone for 40 seconds. They have plenty of time. The Roshan's not up, so they have no other objectives but the high ground. At least try to take a tier 2. Honestly, forcing the buyback here would have been ideal, but it's a bit too late to force the buyback. This Morphling is not buying back no matter what you do, and Friends will really bring out all the stops if you try to attack them. So it's better to just go for the easy objectives, take the final tier 2, open up the map a bit more, and make it so your aggressive playstyle and rotations are more easily successful.
Too good.
Small pause there by FlytoMoon. Two massive concentric circles. And I'm like, all right, guys, we go from area 1 to area 2. And I think that's Grimstroke, so it does seem like it's FlytoMoon who's saying that. Actually, even though it seems like nonsense, it's actually correct. The idea here is that there's only two places to farm, either their jungle or the enemy jungle. They know that their jungle is the hardest to defend right now, because obviously the enemy team is going to try to play as aggressively as possible. They want to push the lanes as much as possible. So you start in your jungle, you try to take as much as possible from there, probably deward a bit, and then proceed to go into the enemy jungle. As you can see, they're not even bothering to ward defensively, and that's the right play. They're actually warding completely offensively and only dewarding defensively, which is the right play, because that way you get rid of any sort of friend's vision, so they can't reliably go to the enemy jungle to farm, because they're looking for that time to farm, but at the same time, you're hunting them down. So you essentially, like, it's the equivalent of when you, I don't know, create like a, when you're hunting, literally hunting, and you create like a fire or something like that, a distraction to force everyone to a specific place. In fact, a lot of animals do this for fish, for example. Like, they will scare the fish and they force them to go to one direction, like all the fish, and then they will just go and eat a bunch of them, you know, like I think it's like dolphins, for example, or whales. Not whales, not whales, but dolphins. They will move their tail, smack them on the ground, which fish get excited and they just move around, and they get, you know, very scared because of course there's a dolphin coming about, and then the dolphin will just charge right into the fish, the school of fish, and eat as many as possible. This is the idea here. You draw them out by making sure you deward the jungle. They keep saying, oh, that's scary, we can't go there. I guess the only safe place is our own jungle. We don't have wards there, but I mean, it is our jungle. And so traditionally, the teams will actually more inclined to farm defensively when that happens. It's just an instinctive thing, even if it's not always the right play. So they will farm their own jungle, they will farm their own triangle, and then it's much easier to catch them out, even when you don't have wards. The match continues, and friends, what did you do against this? They draw a line, actually. Okay, so FlytoMoon's actually strategizing properly. They draw the line, which is how far friends can go right now. They're covering all the spots, all the lanes are pushed in, so they have a lot of vision here as well. I don't know if that's a Morphling illusion, it's hard to tell here in the top lane. Could have had an illusion escape. Maybe. No, that's a tier 4 item, so not yet. I'm not really sure. Oh, Monastal. He has Monastal. Never mind, my bad. So he was pushing the top lane with his illusion, which is not bad. The issue here is, of course, the dire triangle only allows you to push both mid and bot, so it doesn't really help you with top, and you're going to have to let top go. But you're pushing 2 lanes regardless, so you're going to put the pressure anyway. And the goal here is to put so much pressure that then you can get a free Roshan, essentially. You know Roshan is not going to be up at all for a while, so give it some time. There's no need to be hasty about this. You can even go for the bounty runes here. See if they make a mistake here. Remember, the Reaper Scythe is such a strong spell that you can actually punish whomever. They have one Glimmer Cape maybe on the Lich, that's it. So it's gonna be a bit tough to save him from the Reaper Scythe. Stormstormer now has the bash, by the way, on the meld, which is a big deal. He's gonna find the enemy team. Oh, okay, blinks in time. Good reaction time actually. Stormstormer does the BKB, TPs. Very wise TP, but the duel comes out in time, and that's gonna cancel him completely. The BKB, he acknowledges, the BKB TP is like an instinctive reaction. It was the right play, I would argue, most of the time. But of course, he completely forgot that the Legion was around. So he allowed for the duel to occur. Don't know what the right play was there, to be honest. Definitely not wasting the BKB, though. It was, like, if the duel should be used anyway, because you get the dual damage, right? So wasting the BKB there to make sure that you, to have the exact same result is not a good idea. That was the worst play possible in the end. Oh, shush. Taking the Ranger Axe. Okay, the Miller Axe as well. Nongrata coming in, silenced up. Oh, shush. They're gonna go in actually with the TA. Yes, Shush wants to take the Rax immediately, just walk out. He sees Fishman. Fishman's also dead in here. Oh no, saves himself to get the strike, and now Shush could be in trouble. BKB's about to end, but they can't quite chase after him. They don't get the kill. It's a bit difficult for them. They lack the catch after using the hook shot, and in the end, everyone's gonna be able to run away. Stormer continues forward. The goal is to go for the Roshan. Lich pauses the game. Another pause, of course. We have to have these pauses in the game. It's best of 3, of course, but you know these guys have decided. You know, it's a best of 3, but who says that best of 3s can only last 3 hours? You know, the truth is, best of 3 should really last around 8 to 9. That's the problem, right? And in CS:GO, they understand this, which is why they throw as much as they do. Right? They understand this to a different degree, and because of this, they properly pause as well to really extend the time to make sure that whoever is watching this can get the best bang for their buck for this entertainment. I mean, seriously, it's the arena of blood. You gotta appreciate this. The hook shot's not gonna happen. There's the sleight of fist not hitting anyone. The Morphling coming in. Okay, Clockwork in trouble. Lotus Orb used and no fear in. No, maybe the double Reaper Scythe could be coming out any second. Do they have the time for it? They don't. And the backline is trying to kill Sensibility, and they manage to do so. As now Fishman goes down to Ushasha. Just supports dying left and right and center. Can someone actually kill the core, though, is the problem. Stormer sees an opportunity, or perhaps no, Ushasha was actually seizing the opportunity of trying to kill Stormer. Now they're in trouble because they have to defend this Roshan, and they're all backing because they need mana and HP, but it doesn't seem like Friends need mana and HP, so they go straight for the Roshan pit. Well, but they doubt themselves, huh? So Friends did not read this properly. They thought that the enemy team was still going to fight this, thought the TA could steal this Roshan, so they actually decided not to take it in this time, which would have been golden for them. Afraid of the Clockwork hook shot, afraid of the TA walking in, but that actually was not a possibility right now because they were all so far back, and the Ember could not really fight with them. So misread there by Friends, which allows them, or forces them, sorry, to retreat. And now they're really, really on the defensive, as the enemy team is trying to catch any stragglers. They're gonna go for the Roshan now. Great, with a bash.
Illusion.
And with the melt, it makes it really, really easy. The melt bash makes it doubly as easy. There we go, sharing chains. Morphling tries to steal the Aegis, not to success. They have a double Reaper Scythe, but they're not going to use it. Omnislash instead. Okay, Omnislash has been used to deal a fair amount of damage here to the poor Necrophos. But Necrophos is tanking this quite nicely. Now the duel in the backlines, though, to finish off Stormer is a much bigger deal. And with this, they can also kill off Nongrata. So we have Friends with a huge advantage here, as they just managed to kill off the main damage source in the enemy team. Sure, they still have the Aegis on Illidan SDR, but he is not the person you want with the Aegis. You'd rather have the TA with the Aegis. Illidan could be in trouble. There is no buyback on this TA, by the way, as they go in. Okay, the Aeon Disc might save Illidan. He's still at the Aegis anyway. Reaper Scythe has been used onto the Morphling. He survives this. Heals back up to full HP. No problem. He did steal the cheese in the end. No shush. Is going to go here. And with another Reaper Scythe, they end up finishing off Nongrata. Second time they steal his ability by Dodgy. It's a bit ridiculous. And they feed him with his own medicine. Here's the hook shot. Oh, stopped by the Legion Commander. Get down, Mr. President. As the Clockwork walks in, immediately destroying the poor Grimstroke. And Clockwork is not going to last too much longer either. They finish off No Fear. Nothing to do. And the Ember's the only man left alive, which is immediately set up for a duel, which Sedoya, of course, wins and leads to the Aegis being dropped. Now, can they actually finish off Illidan a second time? Yes, they can. No problem. Illidan will go down, and there's going to be a win for Friends. I mean, this is the game of throws, so I don't want to say here. But to be honest, it was Friends' favorite the whole game, so I guess it makes more sense that FlytoMoon won it. I guess is the better out of the two outcomes. Less of a throw, but it's hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. Anyway, that said, guys, we have some final shout-outs here. Guys, our partner EGB.com gives you an awesome proposal. First deposit bonus of up to $600. At EGB.com, you can also find convenient service, daily quests, and a bonus system. Interesting? Click on the banner under the broadcast to learn more. My name's been DSwordfish. I've been your caster for today, and we'll see you guys shortly with the next game of the day between FlytoMoon 2.0 and Friends. Let's see if FlytoMoon can bring it back.
Your flesh spoils.
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I'll take that as tribute. Bombs for the dead.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Flame paints the way.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.